Assalamu alaikum, sisters. Welcome back to another episode of Empowered Muslima. Today, we are going to discuss a very important and meaningful topic that affects all of us at different stages in our lives: how to know if it's written for you. As Muslim women, we constantly seek Allah's guidance in our decisions, whether it's about marriage, career, or life goals. But how do we know when something is truly written for us? How do we recognize the signs Allah places before us? Let's dive into this together. In Islam, we believe that everything is part of Allah's divine plan, known as Qadar. Whether it's a joyous occasion or a difficult trial, it is all part of what Allah has decreed for us long before we even existed. Allah reminds us of this in the Quran, where He says, ما أصاب من مصيبة في الأرض ولا في أنفسكم إلا في كتاب من قبل أن نبرأها إن ذلك على الله يسير. Surah Al-Hadid 22. No disaster strikes upon the earth or among yourselves, except that it is in a register before we bring it into being. Indeed, that for Allah is easy. This verse is a beautiful reminder that nothing happens in our lives without Allah's permission. Everything good and bad has already been written for us. So when we wonder whether something is meant for us, whether it's a relationship, a job, or a dream, we need to trust that Allah has already decided what is best. But how can we tell if something is truly written for us? How do we distinguish between what we want and what Allah has planned? One of the most important signs is ease after difficulty. When something is truly meant for you, even if it starts out difficult, Allah will open doors for you in ways that you might not expect. This doesn't mean the journey will always be smooth, because tests are a part of life. But eventually, you will find ease. Allah tells us in the Quran, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا, Surah Ash-Sharh 6. For indeed with hardship will be ease. I'm sure many of you can relate to this, sisters. There are times in life when we face obstacle after obstacle, and we start to wonder if what we're striving for is ever going to happen. Maybe you've been trying to achieve a certain goal, and every step feels like a struggle. It's in these moments that we need to remember this verse. Allah doesn't put hardship in our path without also placing ease alongside it. So if you're working towards something and after a period of difficulty, things start falling into place, it could be a sign that this is what Allah has written for you. Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I was determined to follow a particular career path. I had put in the effort, I had made dua, and I thought I was doing everything right. But despite all my efforts, I kept facing rejection. One after the other, doors were closing. At first I was frustrated. I kept asking myself, why isn't this working? I'm trying so hard. But then I realized that maybe these closed doors were a sign from Allah. I prayed Istikhara, Salat al-Istikhara, asking Allah to guide me toward what was best for me. After a while, I began to feel peace in my heart, even though I didn't immediately get what I wanted. Then, almost out of nowhere, another opportunity came along, one that I hadn't even considered before, and suddenly everything felt easy. The process was smooth, and I felt a sense of contentment. That's when I knew this was what Allah had written for me all along. In addition to ease after difficulty, another key sign is peace in the heart. Sisters, when something is written for you, you will often feel a deep sense of contentment and peace, even in the midst of uncertainty. Sometimes, when we're unsure about a decision, we feel restless or anxious. But when Allah guides us to something that is meant for us, there is a special kind of peace that settles in the heart. Let me ask you, have you ever prayed for something and over time felt your heart at ease with whatever outcome Allah gave you, even if it wasn't what you initially wanted? That peace is one of the clearest signs that Allah is guiding you toward what is best for you. When Allah wants good for His servant, He opens their heart to it. In the Quran, Allah says, فَمَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Surah Al-An'am 125. And whomsoever Allah wills to guide, He opens his breast to Islam. This verse speaks to the idea that when Allah has decreed something good for you, He opens your heart to it and you feel at ease with His decision. This is why, as Muslim women, we need to stay connected to our faith and constantly ask Allah to guide our hearts. The peace that comes with knowing something is written for you is truly a gift from Allah. Another powerful sign that something is written for you is the opening and closing of doors. Often, Allah will show us what is meant for us by opening certain doors and closing others. If something is not written for you, no matter how hard you try, the door will remain closed. But when something is written for you, Allah will open that door in ways you could never have imagined. I remember reading a story about a sister who had been searching for a spouse for many years. She had met several potential matches, but for one reason or another, things didn't work out. She was starting to lose hope, thinking that marriage wasn't written for her. But then, out of the blue, she received a proposal through her family, and everything just clicked. It was easy, smooth, and her heart was at peace. It was as if Allah had been preparing her all along for this moment. Sisters, the opening and closing of doors is one of the clearest ways Allah shows us what is meant for us. If you keep trying to force something to happen and it just isn't working, take a step back and reflect. Maybe Allah is closing that door because He has something better written for you. Another important point is the role of Istikhara and Dua in recognizing what is written for you. Istikhara is one of the most powerful tools we have as Muslims to seek guidance from Allah. It's not about receiving an instant answer or seeing a dream. Rather, it's about asking Allah to guide you toward what is best and to make your heart content with His decision. Sometimes after praying istikhara, we may not get an immediate answer, but over time, Allah will guide our hearts toward what is written for us. The Prophet Muhammad taught us the importance of istikhara in all matters, big and small. It's a way of surrendering our will to Allah's and trusting that He knows what is best for us. Even when we can't see the bigger picture, sisters, we must remember that tawakkul, complete reliance on Allah, is key to recognizing what is written for us. There will be times when we don't understand why certain things happen. We may wonder why a particular opportunity didn't work out, or why something we longed for didn't come to pass. But when we trust in Allah's wisdom and surrender to His plan, we will find peace, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. As Allah says in the Quran, وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ, Surah At-Talaq 3. And whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. When something is written for you, no one can take it away from you. And when something is not written for you, no amount of effort will bring it to you. This is the essence of tawakkul, trusting that what Allah has written for you is what is best, even if you can't see it in the moment. Sisters, I want to encourage you to always turn to Allah for guidance, pray, make dua, and trust in His wisdom. The more we rely on Allah and seek His guidance, the clearer our path will become. Whether it's in matters of marriage, career, or personal goals, know that Allah is always guiding you toward what is written for you. Sometimes the journey may be difficult and we may face setbacks, but remember that every closed door is an opportunity for Allah to open a better one for you. Now, I'd love to hear from you in the comments, sisters. Have you ever had an experience where you thought something was meant for you, but Allah guided you towards something else? How did you come to terms with His decision? Share your stories below and let's support each other in this journey of trusting Allah's plan. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with other sisters who might be going through the same struggles. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos, inshallah. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.